Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is
Harry!
and we're with the Burlington County Historical Society, and
Children's History Center!
and right now we're on the road in Burlington County, and we're in Burlington City, and we're on Broad Street, and there is a building behind us that today serves as the Knights of Columbus Hall, and at one point was a Catholic church, St. Paul's, before it moved to another part of town. But this was one of 5 barracks in the French and Indian War days in the 18th century that were built in New Jersey. There was one in Trenton, which still exists. There was one in Perth Amboy, in Elizabeth, and there was one here. So I want you to look at this, Harry.
Hey, that looks like the old Barracks Museum.
It does, in Trenton. Doesn't it look like it? Because that's the one that remains. They all were built C-shaped, and this wing in the picture is that wing there. That's the only one that's of the 3 wings that is still standing. These 2 were eventually demolished, these 2 wings. One would have been right behind us before the cemetery. One would have been right on the left side of us there. So this would have looked a lot different, and we're right on the parade ground. Like the old barracks in Trenton has a parade ground, we had one too. All the 5 barracks did. Now, towards the end of the American Revolution, after the Battle of Yorktown, the war was not technically over. It actually lasted another 2 years before the Treaty of Paris. And they weren't going to send all the troops back. They didn't know if the war was going to start up again in full force. So a lot of the French troops and other troops that came over here from the Battle of Yorktown were put in different towns over the winters. And in 1781 and 1782, Lamb's artillery, and what did they fire? Artillery, what did they do?
They fire cannons.
They fire cannons. They were here. But when they moved out, they put in that group, I believe. Who are they?
Lucius Legion.
Luçon's Legion. It's pronounced Luçon. It's a French word. It's a French colonel. And he had this legion. It was kind of like a Foreign Legion. The Foreign Legion we know today in France started in 1831, but they had small legion units of foreigners before that, and this is one of them. And they had mostly hussars. They were cavalrymen, and that is the type of Hungarian-style cavalryman. And he's got a lance, and he just looks very showy. Well, what a guy. And they were in town, and you would think guys who looked that attractive would be welcomed in this town, but were they?
No, they weren't.
No. And so Luçon's Legion only stayed here about 4 or 5 weeks, not much more than a month, because it seemed that Wilmington, Delaware was more happy to have them for the rest of the winter, so they moved there. But there is documentation from Colonel Luçon that he was trying to find a place for them because the people in town didn't really want them here. But this barracks, not much of it is left, but some of it So when you hear that the only barracks left of those 5 is in Trenton, we do have at least 1/3 of it here in Burlington. So Harry, let's give a little cheer for the people who helped us win the revolution. 3 cheers. Hip, hip.
Hurrah!
Hip, hip.
Hurrah!
Hip, hip.